And then they shared the gospel with people around, and so the church ended up being a mixed congregation of Jewish people and Gentiles having come to faith in Christ. But sadly, they argued and fought with each other, and there were actual riots in the city. And Roman Emperor Claudius was just so tired of it, he just kicked out all the Jewish people from Rome in 49 AD, which meant that the church was left with Gentile Christians, and obviously they took over all the responsibility and leadership. And then Nero, who ascended to the throne in 54, 5 years later, allowed the Jewish people to come back. And so you had a mixed congregation, and Paul writes a letter, 55 AD, and as I said, it's a missionary support letter. But the Christians, there's probably heard all kinds of rumors about Paul. So some of the letter, he's trying to give support for him to go to Spain, with Rome being a launching pad. And he's probably aware that there may have been some bad reports about it, though he's never been in Rome. And so in chapter 1 of Romans, Paul talks about the gospel, the good news, and then he talks about God's righteousness, rightness. And so when you think of God's righteousness, you want to think in terms of God, who created us in his image, but we fell away from him quickly in the Garden of Eden. Can God make all that right? And so, and Paul's arguing yes. And that's the righteousness of God. And there are two problems, as I said, that Paul is addressing that God seems to be facing. One, Adam and Eve failed, and they represent humanity as a whole. And then God in Genesis 12 selected Abram and Sarah to begin Adam point 2 and Eve point 2 to begin again with the chosen people. And they failed. So God's got two huge human failures and two big problems. So Paul is